Happy holidays, my HRCYED humans. Nope, I did not like how that sounded. Happy holidays, my HRCYED hobbyists. I'm trying for an alliteration thing and it's not working because I can't think of a good word to call an audience that starts with an H. So I guess instead I'll just say, hi, my name is Sarah Freshly and welcome to Freshly Read Books. So this is my HRCYED video, and HRCYED, if you don't know, is the hardest reading challenge you'll ever do. If you're curious to learn more about it, check out the creator's channel and the video that she made about it. Her name is Stephanie and her channel name is Cordy. That link is gonna be in the description, as well as all of the videos, like a playlist to all of the videos that I have done for this, because this is episode 8.1 we're gonna say. Which is actually perfect because 8's my favorite number, so I love that like we have a special for this. This is going to be a 2-part special that's gonna work a little differently than the other HRCYED videos have on my channel, in that typically I do like a sit down recap reading vlog style video where it's like a combo of things, which I guess technically this one still is that, but instead of me just deciding what books I'm gonna read with some random purpose, instead I'm using an advent calendar full of HRCYED prompts. So this part 1 is the first 12 days of that experience, and I have to say, I got a lot of reading done. So for December, you are going to get 2 HRCYED videos instead of just 1. This does cover November and some of December because that's when I ended up filming them, knowing that then they could come out during December and I didn't have to wait until like after. So let's talk about the advent calendar. This is the one that I used. So this is actually the advent calendar from David's Tea for 2025, or sorry, in 2024, not 2025. That's this year. This year is 2025. So I used this as intended for the year 2024. And then this year, instead, in like the little day drawers that it has, I put in prompts. So there are 2 slips of paper in each one. Basically, I wrote down every prompt that I had left to do in HRCYED, and that means literally everything, not just like one for each square on our bingo board, but everything. So I had a big collection of prompts written down on little slips, and then from that I randomly selected out and put them in each drawer so I wouldn't know what was going to be in them. So that was on my white slip of paper, and then I also had a purple slip of paper in each one, and that one has either some sort of like reading challenge, like an amount that I have to read that day, or it's some activity to do. Typically holiday themed, but not necessarily. So it was a way to get me into the spirit of things for the holidays, but also there's no way I'm gonna read a book every day. Instead, the rule is that as I get to each day, I can open up these 2 slips and I can either start a book that matches the HRCYED prompt, which only works if I'm no longer in the middle of whatever the last book I was reading for this challenge was. As long as I started it by the end of the day, then I lock in that prompt and then that's the book that I'm reading. Or if I can't do that, if I can't finish that book and start the next book, then I have to do whatever on the purple prompt. Sometimes that's like read for 2 hours today, and sometimes it was like fun stuff, like watch a Christmas movie or something. But of course, not every day is equal, so sometimes that the purple slip really came for me. And one last rule that I had was if I pull a white slip out of the drawer and it's a prompt that I've actually already met, either because I created this before I had figured out where all of my October books were going to go, or because during the actual challenge itself, I read a book that ended up fitting into that prompt later on in the challenge, then I could pull another white prompt from my larger group of prompts, because there are a ton. There's a lot of prompts left that we have. And obviously that is a possibility, not just because I made this early, but also because every book can count towards 2 different prompts. So it's not a given that I won't have already read a book towards a prompt when I get it. Okay, that's all the rules, but of course it wouldn't be a HRCYED video for me if I wasn't making some correction at the beginning of it. I am moving What Moves the Dead from, I think it was in the adaptation retelling slot. I am now moving it onto the Creatures square as my zombie book. And this is really because I ended up reading not too long ago a book that does have zombies in it, and I was going to use it for that challenge, but then I realized that it would actually be a spoiler if I did, so then I didn't want to do that, and then it got me really thinking about what book I wanted to use for the zombie book, and I don't want to really read any of them that I found online anyways. I don't have any on my TBR, so that kind of stinks because I do like trying to pull from my TBR as much as possible for this challenge. So I think it makes sense to move What Moves the Dead into there because I think it'll be a lot easier to do a retelling in some other fashion. And technically there is one other housekeeping item, but I think I'm gonna wait to talk about it until we get to the book that's relevant to it. So let's just go ahead and get started with day 1. Apologies for the mess, both the room and me. Last night was Halloween. We went out, saw a 90s cover band. My voice is still recovering from singing all of the songs very loudly. It's November, but to me, it's holiday season. So, number 1. And so for this one, it'll just have the book prompt in it because obviously I can start it. I'm not reading anything else. Okay. Oh, it's an alphabet one. These are gonna be so tiny to be able to see too. Alphabet P. Let me think. So I actually have 3 options from my books to read before the end of the year list. The first is The Perks of Being a Wallflower, which I also got as my pick for TBR Spin a couple months ago. So technically I have started this one, just barely. I think I only read it for 1 reading sprint. And then I have Philip Pullman's The Subtle Knife. Would also be great because I read the first one not too long ago. And then lastly, we have Patrick Radden Keefe's Empire of Pain. This one I do really want to read, but I think of the books on my 25 books to read in 2025 list, it did move down in priority because this is a newer book to my shelf, which almost all of the books that are on there because they've been on my shelves for so long. But this one was on there because I thought that I was going to do a specific video project that didn't end up happening this year. I do still want to do it, but I do think it's going to be pushed off quite a bit, like maybe not even next year. So I'm not as concerned with reading this right away. These 2 I do still want to read this year, but I think the best thing to do would be to read Perks of Being a Wallflower because I did get it for TBR Spin and also I've started it. Also, it's pretty short, so I think that I could like move through it pretty quickly. The Perks of Being a Wallflower is a coming of age story that follows Charlie, who is an introverted teenager, but he gains new friends, has a first love, and deals with some past traumas through writing letters, which is how the book is structured. Also, lately, I've been getting back into watercolor, as you can see in this clip, which is a great audiobook activity. And so it is really awesome to say that I am partnering with Skillshare in this video because that's actually how I learned how to do watercolor in the first place. You may have even noticed a painting that I did on my gallery wall. Oh, you mean this one? That's actually one of the first watercolors I ever did, and I'm still really proud of it. Here are some other paintings that I did back in 2018 when I was first learning how to do watercolor. I actually did this, I think I did 3 or 4 different versions of this same painting. This is the worst one that I did, and there are 2 that are hanging up in one in my cousin's house and one in my parents' house. This one is, I think, my favorite actually. It's a like sprig of cherry blossoms. Is that a thing to say? A sprig of cherry blossoms? This one I think is really cool. Then perfect for fall time, these leaves. I was really practicing shadows on this one. And finally, another kind of tree setting, but with a lake in front of it. It's like reflective and also like pinks and purples. But Skillshare is awesome for whatever you want to learn. It doesn't have to necessarily be artsy stuff. And in fact, I am now taking a creative writing class that has been really cool and something I've been kind of missing in my life. I love learning personally. I mean, I work in learning as my job, but it's for a software company, so it's a little different. But I think it's so important for us all to be lifelong learners. So partnering with Skillshare is truly a dream for me. And I'm so excited to use what I'm learning in my creative writing class to hopefully help make my content even better. And with the holiday season upon us, you might be hard pressed to get a gift this close to the holiday, but Skillshare, you can get a gift card and give somebody the gift of learning. I mean, I know I'm nerdy and I have a book channel, but that sounds awesome to me. So if you are thinking about checking it out, use my QR code on the screen. The first 500 people to do so are gonna get a month free on Skillshare. Thank you so much to Skillshare for sponsoring this video. And now let's get back to the advent calendar. Okay, so it's kind of later in the day because I was pretty sure I was gonna finish. So I didn't really have to do the decision making that comes with opening the next little drawer. But as I said, this morning, I did end up finishing The Perks of Being a Wallflower. I ended up listening to this mostly because I didn't love reading it. This really isn't my kind of book. For me personally, I really love like a super visual book that you feel like you're there. I love lots of descriptions and like I want to feel fully immersed, and I have a hard time getting there when it's somebody telling you the story of what like happened during their day and everything, which is why I typically don't go for epistolary books in general, which would be like a book being written in letters, and I think like also if it was written in like diary entries, things like that. It's just not typically what I like in books, and this is a book that is laid out that way. So I already knew that I was going to, and I think that's why I put it down for such a long time after getting it for TBR Spin. That being said, listening to it I think did help with that a bit, although it did still I think hinder how much I enjoyed the book. The story though, it's a very good story, and I think that it does a great job of portraying what it was like to be in high school and making friends and seeing, you know, having friends that are a grade above you or several grades above you that leave. High school is like so weirdly unique, or any type of schooling system where like you are entering into it at a certain point and there is a group of people there, and then that group just like phases out while others phase in. And it's just a very specific experience that I think does lend itself to a lot of great writing. And I think Charlie from this, it really captures what it's like to be in high school. But beyond that, Charlie is also dealing with a lot of things personally, and it's really nice seeing him get these friends and like being able to be, you know, pretty open with them and everything. And obviously like the letters that he's writing is a really good outlet for him. Overall, I did enjoy it, but I do think that there's a lot of what I love in books that this book just doesn't have, just based off the way that it was written. And so I was never going to connect with it as much as some other books that I have connected with. As far as rating, this is like one of the harder books to rate, and it always feels this way when it's a book I can acknowledge is really good in a lot of ways, but for me personally, it's just like, you know, not quite what I look for. And so I almost feel rude rating it up against my preferences. But that being said, the reviews are for me and like what I like in books. And if somebody's a similar reader to me and they're using my ratings to find other books, then like that might help them. So for me, for my rating, I think I'm gonna give it a 3.25. I apologize if that feels harsh. Okay, so my first book, read it super quickly. I'm very proud of myself. The Perks of Being a Wallflower. And I actually did end up using this for the exact prompt that I pulled. I guess I didn't really say that in the rules section. Even if I choose a book because of a prompt that I pulled, if it fits other prompts that are harder to get, then I will use it for that instead. I don't have to use it for the one that I pulled. But in this case, I did use this for the alphabet challenge for the letter P. So that officially brings me to 13 out of 26 for the alphabet challenge. So yes, we are officially halfway through the largest square book-wise on our bingo board. And then besides that, it is also going to be counting towards our Around the World challenge as our book set in North America, because this does take place in Pennsylvania. And yes, you can probably tell at this point that we're running out of prompts here that are easy to get and that are just gonna like happen upon us. It's getting close to real game time. It really is. So that brings us to 4 out of 6 for that one. Of course, there is the bonus that I'm thinking of doing of Antarctica, but I hold no promises. So number 2 is down here. Should we look at the activity first? See what that is? Okay, I'm really glad we're able to start a new book today. Okay, the sun's making this a lot harder, but I got Bake Something, which I would not have had time to do today. I fly to Vegas tomorrow for a conference, and this would have just been too much for me today. Okay, let's see what our... Ooh, can you see? The last 12 years, 2025 specifically. So I just need to read something that came out this year. It would have been great to have my November release for this one, but my November release doesn't come out until the 11th. Oh, the sun's getting crazy. Let's back you up a little. There we go. So the 11th is the only day that I don't have one of these slips in there, because I'm just gonna say that that is the new release book. And I'm gonna pick up The Strength of a Few, or of a Few, I can't remember. I need to look at my bookshelf and see what books I even have that were published this year. Okay, I had grabbed a few, but then I had a thought, because there is one book that I haven't read that's on the Booker long list, or that's on the Booker short list, and the winner's gonna be announced on November 10th. And if I haven't read the winner, I'm gonna be so upset. Like if it happens to be the one book I haven't read, I'm gonna be so upset. And that book is Audition. Okay, and it was released in 2025. So I feel like that's the smartest thing to do, which is kind of upsetting because I actually started getting really excited about reading one of these two when I was looking at my bookshelf, because this one I got as an ARC and it just seems like a good one to read in like the semi-fall time. And then Death of the Author, I've just been very excited to read since I got it. Okay, yeah, I'm committing to it. I'm doing Audition for this prompt. Audition follows an actress who has lunch with a younger man, and this event kind of splits into 2 conflicting narratives. One where he's a stranger, and then another where he's her son, which brings up these questions of identity, performance, and the roles that shape a woman's life. So I thought we could do today's advent calendar scene from in front of my bookshelf so that I could kind of show you some of the higher priority books. So this right here from Infinite Jest, which let's be real, I probably won't pick this for anything. All the way through to The Little Friend, also a very large book, but I think I only have like 600 pages left in that one, so it's maybe possible. But these are all books that I am either in the middle of or are on my 25 books to read in 2025 list, or both. This is my like higher priority stuff I've got going on. I forgot to say, I really buried the lead on this one. I finished Audition already. I somehow read all of Audition yesterday. Like it was 3 p.m. I think when I updated you and like when we picked the next thing, I then just read all of Audition. I mean, I listened to a lot of it because I just kind of like stuck the audiobook in, was like in the zone, cleaning, doing stuff. But then I got like, at the beginning, I was like not super into it. And it felt pretty basic compared to what I'd heard being said about it. Like I heard it was a very weird book. It does something, it has like a very big tone shift, or maybe not tone shift, but just plot shift, perspective shift. And so I was really thinking of that going into it. And then I started the book and I was like, this kind of just seems like a normal book. Maybe there's hints of something. But then I like really got into it and I was like, oh, okay. I see what everybody's saying. And I ended up really enjoying it. I still, I'm trying to decide on a rating for it, but I found our narrator so unique. I've never read a narrator like that narrator. And I really appreciate that. I always love when you can get that out of a book, especially when you've read so many books, to find a narrator that feels so entirely unique. And I do also love books where you don't fully know if you can trust them or that you don't fully know what's going on. It reminded me a lot of Burnt Sugar, which kind of plays with those things, but I think that this one like really dove headfirst into the meta of it all. In some ways, like I like the more subtle nature of Burnt Sugar. That's a 5-star read for me. I love that book. And it touches on similar themes, but it's more subtle about it. And this one is definitely more in your face. But with that being said, I do think that there are still times when you question your own interpretation of the book throughout. So it can't really be that much in your face, you know? Like, I feel like to really truly be in your face about a messaging, that message has to be like driven home to you so that you know exactly what it is. And I still think that this book kind of plays loose enough with it that you can still feel very differently about it or about what actually happened. That being said, I do think the ending does kind of push it home a little bit more to where you're probably coming out of it thinking one specific way, but there are still times when I look back and I'm like, but wait, I think that this one on a reread could actually be a higher rating, but for now I think I'm just gonna stick it at a 4-star, which I mean 4 stars is still really good. But yeah, overall I thought it was great and I had a fun time reading it. I cannot believe I read it as fast as I did. I did not expect this video to turn into like reading a book every day, which it's not. This is like where it's gonna go downhill probably. I mean, I am traveling today, so there's a good opportunity for me to read quite a bit today, but it's not like it's just like a 2-hour flight. I'm not going to too many states away, so I don't know how much reading I'll actually get done. And then over the next couple of days, like while I'm in Vegas, I probably won't get much reading done at all. So I'll be more relying on the little purple prompts, the activities. Okay, so I read Audition. Now this was going to go towards the awards challenge. This is the housekeeping item that I had from earlier, but I did see your comments and yeah, I got it wrong. I love that you keep me honest, but in this particular case, if I'm gonna be completely frank with you, I wish you hadn't. No, it's good. I'm glad you did. I am glad you did. But there was like a moment when I looked at it at first and where I was like, oh, I don't want to. Like, I don't want to care. I was gonna cross off that box in this video. But basically, the award square, as a reminder, you need to read 7 books that are a part of like some book award, and you need to pull from every level of the book award. So for example, the winner, the finalists, the semi-finalists, and an entrant in the award. So not a lot of awards will tell you what books were even just entered into the award and didn't get any further than that stage. And the one that I chose definitely doesn't. So what I'm gonna do instead is use the BookTube Prize Awards. You can see pretty far out in rounds wise, and you're allowed to use those as being like entrants. So I do have some books that meet that criteria for some past BookTube prizes, but unfortunately I'm not going to be finishing that square in this video. I will be finishing it very soon, so don't you worry, which is sad because when I said this next video for HRCYED, I don't want to spoil anything, but like some progress is going to be made. I was thinking that that was going to be a part of my progress in this video, and unfortunately it's not. But what can you do? I'm gonna play by the rules, even if I don't want to. Anyways, what audition is actually gonna go towards is first going to be the BIPOC challenge as one of those books, which puts us at 4 out of 10 for that square. And then it's also going to go towards the alphabet challenge as our K for either the author's first or last name for Katie Kitamura. That is going to be 14 out of the 26 there. Let's go ahead and open day 3. Also, I don't think I've been showing because I always forget to do it before stopping the camera, but like these turn around after you pull them out and there's like a whole image that appears on the back like as you flip them over. So we're gonna do 3 now, and actually I'll dump this out and then I'll just show you now. So then you flip it over and put it in there, and so eventually all of them will have like a little image. Oh, and I would also like to say I'm not bringing this whole thing with me to Vegas. I've got my little this is my like notebook. It's my planner is what I'm trying to say, but it's got these little pockets. Usually I have like cards in them. Actually, my library card is down here, but I emptied out 4 of the spots, and now this is the 4th, the 5th, the 6th, and the 7th. So I have all of my prompts that I'll need for while I'm gone. I pulled them straight from the drawers, put them in there, and I have not looked at them. So we'll see what we get when we get there. Okay. Ooh, I'm nervous. I'm always nervous. I think that that's upside down. Is that another alphabet? It is. Okay, alphabet N. Okay. I don't know if there's any, it looks like the only one from here that we could do is the new Jim Crow. However, that is my last book on my TBR spin stack. So I try not to read the books that are on my stack so that they make it to each roll, especially now that that's like literally my whole stack is just this book going into December. So I don't think I'm gonna read that one. Actually, let's look at this, the purple prompt, even though we know I'm starting a new book today because I finished a book yesterday. Also, it was so weird going to bed last night and not having a book to read. But let's see what we've got. Oh my gosh, this is one of the longer hours that I would have to read for 2.5 hours, but actually that wouldn't be bad today, and I probably will end up reading for this long anyways today just because of the travel time. So I got quite a few options from my like overall bookshelf. So these are the ones that I'm thinking of. I think as far as, because I do really want to bring a book physically, but if I'm honest with myself, and I already think I mentioned this book yesterday when I was considering it for a book to read that was published in 2025, I think I'm gonna do Death of the Author. I don't love that it is kind of a heavier hardcover, and it is a hardcover for bringing with me. I don't usually like traveling with hardcovers. I would much prefer to do a paperback, but I think I'm excited enough about it that I do want to choose this as my next read. Oh my gosh, I'm actually so excited to start this. Anyways, I have to go finish packing and getting ready to head to the airport, but I'm excited to start reading this once I am in full travel mode. Death of the Author follows Zelu, who is a disabled Nigerian-American writer who winds up having a hit sci-fi novel that brings her a lot of fame, but also blurs the line between creator and creation as she confronts identity, family, and the power that readers hold over a story. Okay, I've barely come into my room so far because I mean, if you saw my last video, that was also like traveling for work, and the hotel room I got and how comical it was because I came in, it was, I mean, like the hotel room was fine, but I had a hard time checking in, and then I opened the windows and it was just like a wall on the other side. I haven't opened the windows yet, so you never know, but I walked in and there's like a whole separate room that doesn't even have the bed in it. We've got kitchen area. We've got dining area. We've got living area. And then we've got the bedroom. Oh my gosh, that tub. That is massive. Okay, moment of truth. How the hell do we open these? It's not gonna be like a remote or something, right? Literally found it immediately after I stopped recording. This switch. Both of them up. Oh my gosh. This is great. I'll just be here the whole time. Forget about the conference. This is great. This is the best hotel room I think I've ever stayed at. Actually, there was a hotel room in Thailand that was really incredible, But besides that one, this is the best one. But to catch you up on where I'm at, I didn't make it as far as I thought I would have, and I'm kind of embarrassed by how slow my reading was, but I was very distracted. I had to close my eyes sometimes because the plane there was turbulence. And also on the train ride over, I had to run from Union Station to, well, technically it's also Union Station, but it's just like 3 blocks away because there was a ballot drop-off box and voting is tomorrow. And I told Curtis that I would drop off our ballots, and then I did not realize how quick that connection was going to be, so I had to like race my little butt over to the other half of Union Station, drop off our ballots, and then run back to get on the train to the airport. And it didn't help that our train getting into Union Station was late, but also the train leaving Union Station was late, so it would have been fine either way. But anyways, I was like stressing the whole time between our place and Union Station about like this run, so like trying to read and not really reading. And then afterwards I was just kind of out of breath, and I was also trying to read. But on the plane, I was more doing uninterrupted reading with the exception of the turbulence times. I'm saying all of that because I've only made it 84 pages in. So yeah, that's how far I am into the book. However, I'm obsessed with this book already. I've been having so much fun reading it. I like reading the parts in the present time. I like reading the interviews from the future, I guess. And I like reading the book that's inside of the book, Rusted Robots. I love it. I love this already. And I'm having a wonderful time. I hope that it continues up this way. I'd actually really love to continue reading this, but unfortunately, I do have to go to Mandalay Bay where the actual conference is being held, pick up my stuff, register. Because I'm like with the company that's doing the conference, we have like polos and stuff that I'll be wearing like during the expo hall stuff and everything. So I need to go get that and register / check-in, whatever it's called. But I'm here, I made it, and I'm still reading. This is really more of a reading vlog than it is a life vlog. So I don't know why I'm telling you all this, but I guess it's just like more exciting. This is a more exciting portion of the month, is being here. Okay, this is gonna be extremely quick because I have to get down to the shuttle. The prompt is last 12 years, 2018. I know for sure I'm not gonna be starting a new book today. I made it to page 100 last night in bed for Death of an Author. So, this is a great one. Read with a drink. Yes. Oh my gosh, I was so worried about whatever that was gonna be. I can definitely do that later. I don't know with what. We actually don't have any like nice drinks in here, so it might literally just be with water. It basically just means I have to read for the entire time I'm having a drink. I imagined a cozy drink at home, but this will work. It's fine. So I would like to formally apologize, but this is my first failure of a day for the advent calendar. I stole tea from the conference so that I could have it tonight. I stole 2 different bags of tea because I wasn't sure when I was gonna be able to do it. So one of them was a green tea, but that has a little bit of caffeine in it. So then I also stole a chamomile tea because I was like, if I don't get back to the room until late. But literally I got back, I had less than 15 minutes to change and get back out the door downstairs, like for our shuttle, so that I could get to the next thing. Yeah, it was a very long day. It is now 11:16. I'm already gonna miss breakfast tomorrow, and the first speaker, I think I'm just gonna go for when they like actually need me there, because I am so tired and I do not want to wake up early to like do that whole thing again today. And the breakfast wasn't great this morning anyways. But all that's to say, I'm probably not gonna read literally a page because I'm too tired. So I'm gonna save that. I might have it when I get back home. I might have it tomorrow if I'm back here and I have more time, but that's where we're at. I once again forgot that I would be doing this, and I do have to get downstairs. So let's find out what I've got here. We'll do the book first because there's no way I'm finishing the book. Oh, It was the Blurbed Books, Carmen Maria Machado. So I would have been reading In the Dream House. Like that just for sure would have been the book. So I'm a little bit sad about that. Oh, read for 1 hour. This is doable. I think this is doable today. I don't know if I'm gonna go out with people after dinner tonight. I'm going to a team dinner that's not like my team, technically. A team that I work very closely with. So we're gonna get Thai food tonight. I'm very excited about it. I love Thai food. But what the plan was to go to Fremont Street afterwards, which is like the old strip where it's got like the older casinos and everything. But I was dead last night. And so I don't know. I don't know if I'm gonna wanna go out again tonight. So I'm gonna see how I feel. But I do think that this is doable and I can at least read on the shuttle ride on the way over because I don't think I'm going with anybody that I work with closely. So I can probably just use that opportunity to read instead of talk to people, unless somebody strikes up a conversation, and then I will be social. Ooh, I was just in basically a wind tunnel, but I did it. I am back at my room. I didn't go out to Fremont Street with anybody because I'm tired. And it is, I think, about 8 o'clock now. I do kind of want to just go to sleep, but I've done 10 minutes of my 1 hour of reading so far. So I'm gonna try to finish my reading. I might make myself a tea so that I can kind of take care of, fix what I didn't do yesterday. I'm gonna try to read now. So I just got back to the hotel room and I kind of forgot to look at my little things for today. It's been a lot, but honestly, I have about an hour to chill here until we're going out for dinner. So I'm pretty pleased with that. That is more time than I've gotten so far. So let's go ahead and find out what our thing is for today. Let's look at the book first, because once again, probably won't be reading it. We have Alphabet O. It doesn't matter. I'm not gonna finish the book today. And we have, make a holiday Pinterest board. Okay. That's like the last thing I wanna do right now. I might get on Pinterest for a little bit. Or I might look up some like printables, like some 3D printables for Curtis to print for the holidays. That seems nice. But yeah, I mean, it is something I can do while watching TV, so that's good.
Sing about a holiday, a happy holiday. Sing about a holiday.
Okay, good morning. Last morning here in Vegas, I am about to head out in 20 minutes to the airport to head back home, which I'm really excited about. So hopefully I'll get more reading done today, and that I'll get any reading done today. But that being said, I'm really tired. And there's a good chance I'm just gonna pass out on that plane. I'm not sure yet, so let's see what we've got. Oh, okay, we have translated. I actually really wanted this one. There's a lot of translated books that I wanna read on my bookshelf, and I haven't even started. I kind of forgot this square existed. I haven't started on that square, so I'd actually really love to read something translated. And then, let's see what this guy is. Whoa. What is that? Read 50 pages? Okay, I can do that. I can read 50 pages. That's a good little goal for me today. Okay, I'm gonna finish packing up my bag, check out, and head to the airport. Oh my gosh, I'm so tired.
Happy holiday. Have a happy holiday. Singing for
Good morning. I'm back home. Did basically nothing else yesterday. I mean, I read like for the flight, although I was like in and out of sleep. And then I read a little bit before going to sleep last night. And I actually woke up this morning and read a little bit outside. It's a little chilly, but it's really nice. So at this point, I am officially past halfway through Death of the Author. I have just under 200 pages left. So technically it's possible that I could finish this and start whatever book we get as an option today. I don't know. It really depends on how I'm feeling. Right now I feel kind of okay, but I also feel like doing nothing, but I also can't do nothing. I do have stuff I have to get done today. So yeah, we'll see. Oh gosh, my hair is like half curled still and half just totally straight. Anyways, we are back with the actual advent calendar. So let's, oh, and we can actually flip the doors for all the days that I was gone. Hi, Scout. The image is starting to come together, and we're on 8 today. Oh, this is the one that my cat's like chewed up. I'm pretty sure Klaus got a hold of this one and was playing with it, but I don't know what it is. What does that say? What does that say? Series trilogy. Wait, I really want to have this one. I really want to do this one. I'm rethinking my whole day. Okay, wait, let's look at what this is, and then I'll talk to you about what I'm... Oh my gosh, this one's so easy today. Wow, that's actually really nice, except for I'm gonna do this, and I think I'm gonna try to finish this book today. Let me grab what I want to start. Actually, it's not even a want to start because I've been in the middle of this one for a while. But the trilogy that I'm thinking of doing, what is it? The Tawny Man trilogy is the name of the trilogy. But the first book is Fool's Errand, which is, so this is the third trilogy in the realm of the Elderling universe. And I did start this and I got like a good amount into it. Wow, actually that was even better than I thought. I got over 200 pages in. It is a lengthy one though. It's over 600 pages long. But I do really want to read this one. Okay, I think I'm gonna try to finish Death of the Author today so that I can get into Fool's Errand. So it is the 9th, and I did end up finishing Death of the Author last night. It was a close call. We went to Free Museum Night in Denver, which basically like all the museums here are free. We spent almost the entire time at the Denver Museum of Art because we hadn't been there yet. But it was actually really cool because there was a section that had African art, and a couple of the pieces were from Nigeria. And specifically there was one that was a Yoruba masquerade, which is talked about quite a few times in Death of the Author and comes up quite a few times and is pretty significant, I would say, like symbolism in general. So that was really cool to see it like in person and know what it looked like. But anyways, overall, my full thoughts on this one. I really liked this. This was a great book. I think it's just short of a 5-star for me. I think it's gonna be a 4.75. I think sometimes it struggled to connect certain things for me, and I expected more to happen with the interview portions of this, but I did really like what it did with the ending, and I thought that was really good. So I think that that's really the only part, the interview portions. If it had gone somewhere else with it or done something else, I think that could have it could have been a 5-star, but I just felt like it was leading to somewhere, but it wasn't. Our main character of Zelu is like so perfectly developed of a character. She's got a lot of, not even necessarily flaws, I don't even want to call them flaws, characteristics that are, you know, not for everybody, but you could tell that like the people that like her like love those things about her. And the way that she gets along with her family, like she's so very different from a lot of them in the family. And obviously she's had a very big difference in her experience growing up because she has been in a wheelchair since she was 8. There's a lot that she's experienced that they haven't, that many people haven't, you know, it's not their fault. But I think that gives her a very unique perspective on the world that sometimes they don't really see. But that being said, I do think that they have some like valid thoughts and concerns as well. Just seeing like the different angles and perspectives, and at the heart of this is really just like the importance of stories and storytelling. So the first prompt that we are going to use Death of the Author for is going to be our disability rep square. Specifically, Zelu is paraplegic and she uses a wheelchair. This actually officially finishes that square for us. We can mark that as complete on our bingo board. Very exciting. And I struggled with this for a long time, but I did end up deciding to use it towards the heritage square as the disability pride book. The reason why I struggled with it was I didn't necessarily want to use one book for both the disability rep and the disability pride square. I don't know why. Like, that's not a real rule. They're two different squares, so you can use one book for both of them. But in my head, I wasn't going to. But then when I was thinking about it, I do think that this is a really good one for the disability pride because it dives like really deep into the conversation around it and like how much you should want to be able to change your situation and how much of it makes you unique. And there's a lot of like very complex conversations that this book has surrounding that, not to mention the allegories with like the robots and everything. It's just such a good book for bringing about a lot of conversations. I would love for this to be a book club book. I think that there would be so much to talk about. I think that a lot of people would feel very differently about Zelu, and I think that those would just be some great conversations. And yeah, once again, I forgot to hold up the book cover. Why is it that like my best editions I forget to hold up? Like I forgot to hold up Catabasis in the last video, and that had those gorgeous sprayed edges. This one also has sprayed edges and just like the most beautiful cover. So anyways, I just barely finished this last night, but I really wanted to finish it because I really wanted to start Fool's Errand, or get back into Fool's Errand, I should say. It's also, I stopped at a part where I'm very surprised that that's where I stopped, because I remember the beginning of this being pretty slow going, not in a way that I minded so much. I mean, I would prefer to have some more happening, but I think that a lot of it is just like reintroducing us to this world and to what's been going on, at least from the little bit that our main character can see, because we are following Fitz again in this trilogy, who was the main character of the first trilogy, the Farseer trilogy. But let's go ahead and see what I need to do today, because there is zero chance I'm finishing this today. So let's see what I have in here though. Okay, so we've got day number 9. Let's look at the book first, because it probably won't matter. Okay, what does that say? Last 12 years, 2026. Why did I have this one in here? There's zero way I could have done this prompt. I must have just not been thinking and just been writing all of the things that I had left to do. I'm trying to think if I even have a book that's coming out in 2026, like an arc or something. I don't think that I do. This is very interesting of me to put that in here. Ooh, okay. This one is pretty easy. Have a bath. I just need to have a bath. You can't have this. Klaus really wants to play with these paper strips. Okay, I can take a bath today. Maybe this evening. That could be nice. It's not something I was planning on doing today. I haven't had a bath in a long time though, so that's kind of why I wanted to add it. And it does seem like a very nice, like this time of year thing to do. Fool's Errand brings us back to Fitz as he is kind of drawn out of exile, which is actually a quiet life that he very much enjoys, in order to rescue a young prince, which pulls him back into court politics, old magic, and his complicated bond with the Fool. So yesterday was, I mean, I did so well. I did so much reading. So I did read a little bit more again this morning, but I think what I actually made it to last night was 470. This is how close I am to the end of this book now. I think I read like 250 pages yesterday. Yeah, about 250 pages. That's crazy. I did not expect yesterday to go that way, or to have read so much of this. So technically, I do think that I could finish this today. That being said, it is already 3 o'clock and it's been a work day, so I haven't really, you know, I mean, I read a little bit more this morning, so now I'm at 512 pages in, so I have just a little over 100 pages left. But I definitely think I could finish this today, but then I would have to like read another book really quickly. So I think the only way that that would happen for me is if like whatever I pull is something that I could get through real quick. But yes, let's see what we get. I almost forgot what day it is. It's the 10th. It's my birthday today. So it says to go to a bookstore. Can you see that? I don't know why I showed me before I showed you. I usually show you first. And I'm laughing because tomorrow I'm supposed to go to a bookstore, and I don't think that I'm gonna have a chance to go today. I was thinking about when I made this one that I would just walk to my local bookstore, which is very close by, but they close at like 6 and I'm working today until 5. And we've got like other things we're doing because of my birthday. But I might just give it to me and say that like, because I'm going tomorrow, it's okay. That would have been really hilarious if I had gotten it tomorrow. Okay, and then we have a disability rep. I'm trying to think of if I have any short books that have disability representation in them. I'm not finding anything, so I think no new book today. I will just enjoy the last 100 or so pages of this. Okay, I have to check in quick because I have to take Scout to the vet very, very soon. But I am very close to the end of this. I actually didn't make a lot of progress at all yesterday until the very end of the day, and then I read a lot. And by a lot, I mean like I don't know, 80 pages, which still feels like a lot for me. Just the day before I read so much that now that doesn't seem as exciting. And so I'm gonna take this to the vet with me so that if I have some time where I'm waiting, Scott is getting blood taken today, so I will at least be waiting while that's happening. The plan is to finish this by The Strength of the Few, which comes out today, and start that. But just so we can like officially open the thing, I couldn't remember if I put a purple slip in here because obviously, oh yeah, because if I hadn't had a book that I finished today, I wouldn't have been able to start at The Strength of a Few. Well, just so we can see what the book one is, again, this is the only one I pre-planned, the only one that wasn't put in randomly, and that is new release for November. And then, not that this super matters, but I would have had to read for 2 hours. Honestly, anytime I'm holding up a Robin Hobb, I'm just so happy. So for Fool's Errand, we are going to be using it towards the series Stairway Square as the first book of the trilogy. That brings us to 9 out of 13 for that square. And then I'm also going to be using it towards the Alphabet Challenge for H for Robin Hobb. And that's going to bring us to 15 out of 26 for that square. Honestly, I can't say much about this book without spoiling the first book. So I'm just gonna tell you that this is dealing with the consequences / fallout from what happened at the end of book 1. Yeah, I think that's literally all I can say about this one. Okay, so it is officially the 12th. We're halfway through this thing, and it's time to find out what's the last one for this video. Before we get to that, where I'm at in The Strength of the Few, I've only read 50 pages so far. I didn't end up doing much reading yesterday, but the bit that I did read got me really excited again. And like just reading the synopsis again, or like the synopsis of this reminded me of what happened at the end of the last one. And like, that was crazy. And the book feels so different, but still like obviously same writer and everything. Like the writing is just as good as I remember is what I'm trying to say. But the story itself feels like there's so many ways that things can go, and I don't know what to expect, which is a lot of fun. So I'm excited to keep reading this one. But that being said, I still have close to 700 pages to read in this thing. So I don't think I will be reading starting a different book today, but let's see what we have. So we have, this is a long one, Heritage Month. There we go. And that is Asian American Pacific Islander. There are a few on my shelf that I would like to read that fit this, but it's not gonna happen. There's no way I'm finishing The Strength of the Few. So let's see what our purple one is. Okay, I think this is the longest reading time one I have, and it's to read for 4 hours. Like I don't have work today. Okay, I mean, I've read for 30 minutes this morning, but it's already 2:40. So that means I need to read for another 3.5 hours after work. Ooh, okay. Yep, I'm gonna do that. I can do that. And then as far as this is gonna go, so this is the end of part 1 of this video. I am gonna come back to you though, because I'm gonna take a few days off in between these. That'll give me a chance to finish this one because it is a lengthy book and I don't wanna skip like a bunch of prompts that I have in there just because I happen to really wanted to read one that is a bit longer. And I also wanna give myself time with this one. So I'm giving myself a couple days off between the first 12 days and the second 12 days, which is also another benefit of filming this in November. But this won't be the last clip of this video because I will have been keeping you up with what each of these books prompts wise go to, and then in that I will also let you know how I felt about The Strength of the Few. And I keep wanting to say The Strength of a Few, but that way you know how I felt about this book in this video rather than waiting for the next video. But so far I'm loving it. Okay, it is a good deal later, but I finished The Strength of the Few by James Islington, which I'm pretty sure I was getting wrong. Did I say it in this video? I don't know, I can't remember, but I was definitely saying it wrong in general. But I have officially finished this. I ended up taking quite a bit longer than I intended to, but I'm really glad that I had the time to give this book because it needed more time than The Will of the Many did. Like I already thought just based off my experience reading The Will of the Many that this would need some time, but like that was even truer than I knew at the time. And that's not to say that this is like a hard book to read. It just, so much is going on. And I feel like I needed time to absorb things, to take breaks, to be like, oh my gosh, what just happened? How do I feel about it? Like, how do I think this feels about it? And I don't think I've ever read a book that has as much going on as this book has going on. It is so much. I had a wonderful time reading it. I really, really liked it. I don't think it's quite the 5-star that The Will of the Many was. I think maybe it's a 4.75. I think it's very, very close. There were just, it was just sometimes a touch hard to follow, or hard to remember where I was is maybe more the accurate way to say it, which it usually wouldn't take long to like figure it out again. The chapters do have like something that helps, but then sometimes I'd be like in the middle of a chapter and like forget where I was, especially if I stopped mid-chapter, like put the book down mid-chapter and then picked it back up. I found that to be kind of tough. But yeah, that's, wow. Wow. And the way that it ended, I cannot wait for the last book in this series. I'm so sad that it's going to be like probably a year at least. There's not really a ton I can say about it just because it would be massive, massive spoilers for the first book. I mean, I could tell you that I liked all of the characters. There's a lot of political intrigue and a lot of new characters that we're meeting and people that I care very deeply for. And yeah, those are the things I can say. Everything else is a massive spoiler. Okay, so officially our last book of the month, and yes, I did turn the cover inside out. Now this matches the one that I already have, which is right here. So their spines match up now, which is very cute. So glad they gave us that on the inside cover. So obviously this is going towards my new release square as my November release, which brings me to 8 out of 15 for that one. We are finally past halfway for that one. And then it is also going to go towards the by the hundreds square as our book in the 700s plus page count, which means that we have officially finished another square on the bingo board. So what is that, seven squares done? Yeah, okay, so we have 7 out of 25 squares total done. We're getting there. We're getting there. And it does feel good to have a video where I mark off 2 squares, but I thought that I was gonna mark off 3 squares, but it's cool. It's fine. Like, could you imagine marking off 3 squares in a video that just covers 12 days? I mean, I know that obviously I was reading The Strength of the Few for a while after this, but like for all intents and purposes, 12 days. That's where we are at the end of part 1, and part 2 is also fairly successful, if I do say so myself. But before you go anywhere, I do have a quick question for you, so if you could answer me in the comments, that would be great. So I'm thinking about specifically the Avatar Challenge. I've done 3 out of the 4 of them. The one that I have left is fire. So some element of fire on the cover. I've been mostly going with it being on the cover rather than it being in the title. You can do both or either, I think. I don't know if you can switch between the two, but I've been doing cover in general. This is the one that I have that I think would work out of, I went through a lot of my books. I didn't technically look at the cover of every single one of them. I should have done that when I was reorganizing my bookshelf, but I did not think about that. But does this count? Her hair is basically fire. If you could let me know if you would count this as fire for the fire book, that would be great, because again, I'd really love to stick to the books that are on my TBR for as many as I possibly can in this challenge. Anyways, thank you so much for joining me on today's video. I hope you are having a wonderful holiday season wherever you are. And if you want to learn something new over this holiday break, if you get a holiday break, don't forget about this QR code and Skillshare. Thanks again, Skillshare. And also, if you want to follow me in more places, I am also on Instagram, TikTok, Storygraph, and Patreon. And right now, if you're really into advent calendars, it's a great time to join the Patreon because I am doing daily uploads where I talk about the book that I am currently reading. And also I open up my advent calendar that I am using this year. It's a lot of fun. And also I'm opening a very cute advent calendar, if I do say so myself. And this is open to all paid tiers on my Patreon, not just the second tier, which is typically the one that gets all of the videos. So even if you just want to join for this month, feel free to do so. I'd love to see you there. But really, this is my main platform, so I mostly just want to have you subscribe here and maybe like this video. I don't think I said that yet. And I will see you back for the next one. Bye.